government of Campbell, notwithstanding all of the promises, is going to have a victory for the children, disabled children. They too appealed it to the Supreme Court of Canada. And every single provincial government in this country, including the federal government, intervened in the court hearings. June 8th, 2004. Row after row of lawyers, including lawyers led by Health Justice Minister Erwin Copper. The guy has got apparently an international reputation as a human rights lawyer and advocate. But when it comes to disabled children, nothing. Put them down. And so what happens? On that day I demonstrated in front of the Supreme Court of Canada. When they broke for lunch, I had the pleasure of meeting Dr. Sabrina Freeman of FEDA BC, who is a Norton litigant, and Jean Lewis, who's here with us today. Two of my best friends for whom I have the greatest amount of respect and admiration for their courage. And regrettably in November of 2004, the Supreme Court of Canada issued a horrible decision, a disgraceful decision, a decision that should be embarrassed of. When they unanimously overturned the decisions of the lower courts of BC and claimed that it was perfectly all right, perfectly legal, perfectly constitutional to deny autism treatment to disabled children under Medicare. Shame! Can't hear you. Shame! 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 That would be a shame. So the court said that it's essentially a political issue. It's political. This is something for the politicians and the legislature to deal with.
80-ish.
And so we started immediately a campaign, a petition campaign supported at CanadaAutism.com. And we've had that petition tabled so many times in the House of Commons. I've only had one experience, one MP, but I personally gave the petition to look at it and gave it back to me. Only one.
Have you met Natalie?
It was an extremely painful moment. Only one.
Natalie is the
Everybody else
auto
did.
chapter.
So here we are, 2 years later. The court told us to get political, and so we're getting political. We just had a press conference in the press gallery, and in anticipation of today's event, the government decided to try to upstage us, to upstage our allies by having an announcement yesterday. We'll say a couple of words about that announcement in a few moments. But first I want to introduce, there's a couple of parents here from BC who have come all the way from Vancouver to be with us here today. And we also have another parent who's come from Halifax to be with us here today. So if there ever was any doubt about whether or not we represent just one or two people, forget about it. We represent all of the autistic families across Canada. And they're with us here today. First, I'd like to introduce my good friend, Jean Lewis. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give her a round of applause.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. Can you all hear me? Woohoo! I'm delighted to be in Ottawa with you all today. I can't believe it's sunny. I brought a parka with me. It's warmer here than it is in Vancouver. Anyway, I have two messages to share with you today. First of all, who are parents? Show your hands. Do you have pictures of your children? Where's the PMO's office?
There's one over there, and there's another one over there.
Ah, typical Ottawa. Offices everywhere. That's why nothing happens in this country. This needs to happen. Medicare for autism now, and deliver before the next federal election. Now let me tell you how we're going to get Medicare. Medicare for Autism now, before the next federal election. Parents, you got to get active, politically active. In British Columbia, in the last federal election, Feed BC, Feed Soldiers, operated in 5 constituencies that were very slim margins. In one constituency, I can confidently tell you that we seriously affected the vote, where the Conservative, after 33 years of Conservative domination, went down to a Liberal. Now, we're not particularly interested in Liberal, Conservative, NDP. We're interested in electing Canadians who have a backbone. Doesn't matter what party they represent. Canadians who take their instruction from their constituents, not from the bureaucrats, not from the technocrats, and certainly not from the PMO. We are in a pivotal time in this country, not just in autism. This government hangs by a thread. Hangs by a thread. We need to be operating in British Columbia and Ontario in the next federal campaign. We know the ridings. We need your help. Who wants to help? That's all that needs to be done, because I'll quote U.S. Senator Everett Dirksen. When I feel the heat, I see the light. All of a sudden, you know, the provincial, federal, jurisdictional issues evaporate like a smoke screen, which it is, because the federal government dumps all sorts of cash into the provinces for all sorts of reasons. And why do they do it? Because they want to meddle in provincial politics in certain constituencies to get the votes. That's all, votes. So you know what? We vote. And we have large circles of influence that vote. And we're going to vote with our feet. So politicians, listen up. If you won in a riding of under 2%, you better listen carefully. Medicare for Autism now and before the next federal election, or we'll get someone who'll do it. I'd like to introduce my 2 colleagues, Roxanne Black and Jennifer Rell, both of whom came with me. We've all been working really hard, meeting. You know, we are in Ottawa, so you got to meet. That's what you do here. So, I'd like to ask Roxanne to come up.
Roxanne Black. Testing.
Hello. I'm a parent of a little boy with autism, live in British Columbia. Our journey began 2.5 years ago. The emotional and financial stress of providing treatment to our son has taken its toll. My young husband and I provide science-based treatment to him because we know that it's saving his life. I shudder to think where we would be today if we didn't have the means to make this treatment happen. It's come at a cost to my family, as well as all the families across this country. My FEET colleagues and I are here today representing a growing wave of parents who have 1 or more children with autism that are providing science-based treatment out of their own pockets. Parents have sacrificed big. Marriages breaking down, parents on antidepressant drugs, a mom so nervous about sending her autistic child to school that she vomited for 3 weeks prior because the education system is failing her. Moms forced to give up their careers to stay at home with their autistic children. Parents of children with autism in this country are in crisis mode. This government is standing in the way of 47% of children recovering from autism, becoming indistinguishable among their peers, leading normal, productive lives, good tax-paying citizens. This government is standing in the way of allowing these children and their families to live with dignity. The harsh reality is that if this generation of children are left untreated, they will become institutionalized. We will have young adults with autism still in diapers, having to pull out their teeth because they will not stop biting themselves. wearing helmets because they won't stop banging their heads. I often wonder why I get so anxious at the end of each month. And I realize it's because I have to write thousands of dollars worth of checks for my son's health care. We simply cannot continue to afford to empty out our bank accounts every single month, sell our homes to pay for this treatment. But unfortunately, we're the lucky ones. At least we have a few assets to sell. What about that single mom with a child with autism? No money, no hope. I wonder what it would cost a parent per month to pay for cancer treatment. You know, we're not ready to make nice. We're not ready to back down. We're mad as hell. And our children deserve Medicare for autism now.
When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Medicare for autism! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Medicare for autism! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Medicare for autism! When do we want it? Now!
Yesterday.
Okay, folks.
Yesterday.
That's true. Another colleague, a special friend who's also made the trip to Ottawa from Vancouver. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give her a round of applause for Jennifer Rao.
Hi everybody, thanks for coming. Our daughter Julia was diagnosed at 2.5 with autism, there we go, and moderate mental retardation. We got 3 second opinions. The Provincial Diagnostic Centre in British Columbia did not direct us to science-based treatment. Thankfully, we found it on our own through Families of Early Autism Treatment of BC. 9 months after we found Feet of BC, Once we found Feet of BC, 9 months after diagnosis, we begun our daughter's treatment program. Our daughter's response was immediate and her progress consistent. Without this 40-hour-a-week ABA treatment, our daughter would have remained alone in her world, unable to communicate, tantruming many of her waking hours. Now, with an IQ in the normal range, she is able to function beautifully, happily, and productively at home and in grade 1. As far as she has come, there is still a ways to go, and she continues to need science-based, medically necessary treatment. But the need and intensity decrease dramatically every year. The impact this has had on our lives has been profound. No one should have to go through this in this country. Autism is difficult enough to deal with and treat on a daily basis, but to be forced to deal with the costs and misinformation on top of that is a whole other battle, the least of which should be shouldered by the families of disabled children. Our child is lucky. My husband and I funded and continue to fund our child's medically necessary health care. There are many thousands of children in this country who are not getting treatment because of the lack of universality for them under Medicare. This is unethical and it is abhorrent. Enough is enough. Medicare for autism now.